That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, Stephen, what led you to be part of Father's Refuge and to open up about your journey together?
I think we live in an age where there's so much discouragement in the world. I think anytime that a person has opportunity to share their story, doesn't matter what you've been through. If you have a story, you have an opportunity to encourage someone. Someone can relate to you, to influence them in a positive way. I don't care what your situation is, disabled, able bodied, anytime you have a chance to share something encouraging, then I think we do the world a favor because who doesn't need encouragement in the day and age we live in?
Right. Well, I started Father's Refuge podcast 24 years after we lost our daughter to cancer. It was August 5th, 2001 when she passed away. We spent months going back and forth to the MUSC Children's Hospital, and at that time, I recognized that there was not a lot of support for men or fathers. And I think 24 years later, I think things have progressed to the point where maybe there are some resources out there for dads and fathers who are walking through loss and grief. But I also, while the podcast is specifically for that, I also realize that loss and grief encompasses a whole range of issues, job loss, divorce, wrecked marriages, just all sorts of things, right? Grief is caused by loss in our lives of all kinds of different things that we can lose. And so I want to be all inclusive, and I want to include stories such as yourself, family members who have lost children, loved ones, aunts, uncles, parents, grandparents, whatever it might be, right? And I want to include those stories as well. So that's why I'm glad that you're here and sharing your story about can you talk a little bit about your diving accident?
Yeah, for sure. I was 19 and Friday, 3 days away from starting college. It was a Friday afternoon, be about 30 degrees, which must be somewhere close to 90 degrees Fahrenheit for you folks in America. Um, I went to check on some friends. We were getting ready to head up to our local youth group at our church. And I had no intentions of swimming that day, but I was sitting there. They were just got back from work, taking early day off for them. And so they went down to the river to just clean up, cool off before we got ready to head out. And you know what it's like when two guys are having a lot of fun in the water and you're the life of the party and you're sitting on the grass watching. So after about 15, 20 minutes of seeing them enjoy themselves, of course, I was baking in the sun. I didn't want to miss out anymore. So spontaneously, being the humorous one that I always was, I just got up off the grass, sprinted down the length of the dock, and I thought they were treading water at shoulder height. The river wasn't really clear, but I grew up on the water. We had a house on the lake, so I didn't really have a fear of water. And so what I assumed was about 14, 15 feet of water, or even 10. I knew I could do a shallow dive, but what I didn't realize when I dove out on the end was they were kneeling, so knee deep, and
Mm,
trying to be the life of the party. And the jokester made a shallow dive, but it wasn't not near shallow, not near shallow enough dive because there was only about 4 feet of water. And I hit my forehead and snapped back and instantly
mm,
broke
mm.
the fifth vertebrae in my neck. There was such force, and which obviously hit the spinal cord. And instantly I was paralyzed from the shoulders down with no movement. So I lay face down in the water. Fortunately, I knew enough not to take a breath in, but I could see kind of the silt settling on the bottom of the water. I can still remember a lot of ringing in my ears. And I would say what was probably only 15 seconds it took them to get over felt like half hour of holding
Right.
your breath. And I remember not being able to move and any arm to move anything. And I remember a lot of people say your life flashes before your eyes when you think you're going to die. But for me, the biggest thought that went through my head was when I exit this world in a few seconds, I don't know where my eternity lies. I grew up in a Christian home, kind of made a profession for faith, but really
Hmm.
lived my parents' faith out, kind of the coattails of their faith. I never owned any of it my own.